All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to week 2 of the Be Free podcast. We got Jim Burgen, our lead pastor.
Week 2.
We got
Throwing
Karen.
signs.
That's so weird.
We're just going to keep on taking this. We got Karen Burge, who's on our lead team. Jesse DeYoung here, also on the lead team. Jim, this is kind of fun because these are the only 2 members of the lead team you've demoted, Jim, in this interview. So,
The 2 of you?
yeah.
Oh, see? I talked about forgiveness this past week. That one thing, it's like, it's them. I'm talking about them.
No, that's one of my favorite parts about Flatirons culture.
It worked out for you.
It worked out great. We love each other. So,
But it's so much fun to bring it up again.
I know. Karen, what's your take on that whole thing?
Oh man, I'm a woman, so I just figured.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just kidding. There should be ability to
I don't feel
here, yeah.
safe. Can I say that? I don't feel safe. It's like,
I thought this was going
I'm
to take
teasing.
a turn. I just didn't think it would be
joke.
Karen.
It's a joke.
It's one of my favorite parts about.
ironically, I demoted you before you all put me on sabbatical. And then I came back, and because I'm just a...
You promoted us after that ish.
Let me finish my thought.
Sure.
Because I'm like Jesus. I said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they did. I'll remind them at least once a year.
I actually think that's fair. I think we're all even.
We're all good.
I think we're all even. It's,
Be free.
Be free. Here we go.
Me too.
Jim, you're just getting off the stage.
Yeah.
You talked about staff retreat. We're just getting off staff retreat. We spent 3 days in the mountains with our team. Just reflect on staff retreat, what God does up there, why we take a retreat in general with the team.
Yeah, I think that we learned over the course of years and years of missing things is that we have a really great staff that run 100 miles an hour. I'm not saying anybody else in their job doesn't, but a lot of when we have an opportunity to carve out some time because of the generosity of this place, that like we go up to a Young Life camp and it's not like we're going
Vegas
5 stars. That's Karen.
Well, not that there's anything wrong with that.
Well, for most people, Karen shops a lot. But I think one of the things we've learned is, we're talking about develop to deploy is our second. Is like that house has to start in house, and so and I hate to give you all the credit for this because you all think about this more than me. Is like pouring into our staff, and with a lot of reward and no expectations for 3 days. So how can we build into you? How can you catch your breath? How can we? And it's really about, we're going into a season right now that if we're not unified, we're just not going to make it.
Yeah,
that's true as a church. But I was able to point at our staff, remember, and go like, "Hey, as goes this room, so goes, a lot of the future of our church." And so it's hands in the middle. We're all united on this, and even the best part is, we had James and Aaron Henderson from Mexico City come up, and they're spiritual directors.
Right.
They just set us up for quiet times, and then we went out and spent time with God. And again, I already knew what God was putting in my heart. It's like, I don't want to have this conversation, but it was so good. I came home and I talked to Robin about it, and but everybody came back. Like, I don't know, I've lost track of how many staff have said, "Thank you, thank you." I'm like, I didn't. I showed up and took part in it too. But I think that we have a great staff, and every once in a while, if we can carve out some time for us to go away, be together, be alone with God, then come back together, the church benefits from it.
Yeah.
Everybody's tanks are pretty full, and they're taking time away from their families, but I think their families can go and let somebody build into you. Our staff spends all their week building into others and giving it away. And so just for a few days, if we can just spoil them a little bit.
sure.
And so much laughter and tears.
Yeah.
It was good. And you also, one of the things that I think you all have done well is that you have elevated some of our staff to higher levels of responsibility. So they took a lot of ownership in that, as opposed to like, here's what we think they need. And you guys do that really, really well.
Yeah.
Karen, what do you see on staff retreat? Just what's your perspective on that?
Well, I think, to your point, Jim, I think Jesse has led really well in terms of part of our job is to raise up the people that are maybe a little bit younger, one step behind us, and to actually let them lead, to let them take responsibility. So I think seeing them do that at staff retreat is good for the whole staff.
Sure.
To go, it's not, Jim and Jesse or lead team doing every single thing that happens and making every decision. I'm not sure if this is what you were asking. One of the things that was most impactful for me at the retreat was the time that we spent praying for each other.
Mm-hmm.
People that said, hey, I'm going through something, or I'm just trying to figure something out, whatever their reason was, that raised their hand and said, I'd like my teammates to pray for me. I'd like for my staff colleagues to pray for me. And that was really moving and really special. And I think it's the kind of thing that elevates your relationships across the staff, and it makes a difference.
Yeah, I would. So this weekend we're talking about like that whole Me Too thing, and I think sometimes, and maybe the people listening is like, sometimes you get in your mind that like church staffs or professional, pastors, something like that, they used to have problems, or they used to carry heavy loads, or they used to have dysfunction in their family, or they used to have brokenness, but then they'd be like, now they work on a church staff. And I thought, like one of the things that I just have a lot of conversations, how much, especially some of our younger staff, or even our older staff, our whole staff, they're carrying things that, like, walking by them in the hallway because they have such joy, or they smile, or that servant's heart. You would never know that, her husband has a really bad illness, or over here, like they're going home because, their grandma's dying, or like, I mean, you just hear all of these, and I don't know. It's just like, I think that I don't know. It's like, it's a reminder. Who is it said? It's probably Buddha or something. Says like, everybody's fighting a battle that you know nothing about.
Confucius.
I don't know
if it was. I don't know if that's who it was.
You got it on an egg roll, didn't you?
It's written on a wall in downtown Lafayette.
It is a community, right? Everybody's fighting a battle that you know nothing about,
Yeah.
and it's just like, that's absolutely true. And so we get the honor of carrying that for each other, and again, I think that all of our staff thinks my job is to carry everybody else's burden, and then I'm alone, and then we got to take care of each other.
Yeah.
I love watching our staff.
Plato said it.
Plato said it. Thanks,
Plato,
Paul.
yeah.
Confucius was more
Confucius
fun.
is similar.
Yeah.
I think about staff retreat as the Celtics have that belief of thin space, where the space between heaven and earth is thinner. And like, that's a kind of a Jewish thought. There were mountains they would go to meet with God. Jesus would regularly go up on a hill, spend time to pray. But it's like, there's this place where the purpose of the time, the purpose of the space is to meet with God, and it seems like it happens easier there. And I know that your cabin is that way for you. It's that way for me too. There are certain places. I think Camp Como for Crucible and Liminal, when we did that, was a place where this is just thin space. But when you walk into the staff retreat planning to meet with God, and like with the intention, then it's harder to walk away from. Do you think you would have, the forgiveness that you were walking through during that time of solitude, do you think you would have confronted that on a normal Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday just throughout the week?
No. I think it's really not at all. I'm not that good. I mean, it's limited back there all the time. And as soon as you go, hey, we're going to have 3 hours of, and what I almost did is like, I'm just going to go in my room and write on my sermon. And it's like, I can't do that. And then that came to me, and it didn't have anything to do with, it made it to the sermon this week, didn't it? So apparently it had something to do with that. But I think even Jesus, like, James taught me this, Henderson. He said, right after his cousin was beheaded and he fed all these people and they're trying to make him a bread Messiah, and it's just like, everybody just give me. Jesus says, hey, let's get in the boat, and I'm leaving. But there's still all this work to do. There'll always be work to do. Get in the boat. And then it says he went to a desolate place. Yeah. It's like, he knew, I need to get away from the noise. He only has, James told me this, is that some of those, he went to the wilderness, or he went to whatever, he could have been gone for weeks. It just says for a time.
Sure.
And some people say, like, in the middle, he only has 3 years to get it done. Right? And it's like, I'm gonna take a 3-week break. But there's all this work, and I know I need to go hear from my Father. And so I think he was intentional about it. I don't think we are very good at intentionality. I think like I'm jealous. Like, you have a 5-year journal, that you're able to look back 5 years ago, I prayed this on this date, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, and watch that progression of what God's doing in your life.
Sure.
I'm not jealous enough to do it, but I'm like, yeah, I wish I was. It's like, I think we have to. I mean, God said take a Sabbath for the same reason, right? Yeah. And so I think our staff is as guilty as anybody else. Going, we run hard, and there's so much work to do, and we go like, well, we're taking a time out, not because the work's finished, but so we can come back.
Yeah. Well, and you say it all the time. Leaders go first, and if we're going to ask our church to repent, if we're going to ask our church to meet with God, if we're going to ask our church to take these steps of faith, we got to do that first. And the only way that I found that we can do this is when we pull away from what's normal and take some time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing, I want to be clear on this because, the illustration I used this weekend is I've got this thing, and full transparency is like, it's still right there. Mm-hmm. It's not like I walked away and stuff like that. It's like I'm trying to figure out, like, and everybody has theirs, right? Everybody has their, I'm really good with God, and I'm really good with people, and I'm really good with the stuff I used to do. There's just this one thing. Right. And I was like, I don't even know what my life looks like without that because it's been there for so long. Mm. And so I love that quote. And I think I adapted something I heard from Chandler. To be 99% known is to be unknown. Mm-hmm. Well, the same thing, to be 95% free means you're still a slave.
Yeah.
And it's like, that was a big aha for me. But I didn't feel, so please hear this, I didn't feel shame around it. Like, I should be a better Christian than this.
Sure.
It's like, to me, the picture I have, because Matthew 11, it says, Jesus says, come to me, you're weary and laden, take my yoke. And so Jesus and I are yoked up, all right? So I'm saved and we're doing, good stuff together and, all this. It's like, and there's this other thing over here, and he's not like, we're not taking another step forward until you drop that load or something like that. He's just like, you can lay it down anytime. Like, I know, I don't want to yet. I know that I'm tripping over it. I know I'm hitting other people with it. And I know it's like the root of what I throw anger at you about has nothing to do with you. It's because I'm just angry because of this thing. And I guess I just want to acknowledge that this whole be-free journey is a journey, right? And it is. This is how I ended this weekend. It's like, it's truth and then grace. And then I get back on truth and then it's grace. Yeah. And it's not just a one-shot. I mean, forgiveness is, right? But the journey of progressing in my freedom, like I said, it's like, hey, I'm not talking about salvation. If you die, am I going to hell because I'm still carrying this? No, you're saved by grace, but you're just not living free. Who was it? Aaron a few weeks ago. Great. He says, I'm not talking to you about being saved. I'm trying to save you from so much regret.
It's good.
It was so, right. And that's what we're talking. We're not talking about salvation here. We're talking about, but you could live like a free person. Yeah. But these are decisions that you have to make. And Jesus is like, I'm right here. I'm not going to, at this point, I'm not going to pry it out of your hands. Sometimes like, if he loves us, right? Proverbs says a father who doesn't discipline his son hates his son. Yeah. So sometimes God will say, buddy, we're going to call a timeout and go to the woods, and I'm going to pry this thing out of your hands until you realize it wasn't yours to begin with. And then I might give it back to you in a different form.
What would you say to the normal dude who he's got 3 kids, wife, busy job, sports, golf, everything, and he's like, it would be nice to have this time where I went and met with God, but at the same time, it just feels like I don't have time, don't have the place to go, don't even know what I would do. If you're given like a normal person just a quick step into here's how to step into a place where you can meet with God within space.
Give up golf.
What would you say? Give up golf.
That's what you put it on the list, man. I did not. But just think about it.
That's a biased answer.
Right there. I think you'd have to you'd have to look at your priorities and put something back on the list ahead of time so that it is something. It's like, I can't displace my job. I can't displace my this meeting I have to go. I can't displace right. So, but there has to be a top 3 of like, these are indisplaceable, not displaceable, like,
Yeah.
and get ahead of that. So like, as that season ebbs and flows, you put, time with my wife in there before something replaces it.
Yeah.
And that would be, that would be one. But one of them is you just have to make a choice and a decision going, like, I always say this, okay, is counseling more expensive than alimony? Right? Is denying yourself more painful than split custody? Right? So you have to choose your, choose your pain. Like pain now means like go to the gym. So I'm gonna get up in the morning and experience pain, so that when I hit 65, that's not when I hit pain. You're gonna pay sometime, right? I'm gonna pay the pain now so that I experience abundance later.
Yeah.
And as opposed to I'm just living abundance, blah, 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 blah. Well, pain's on the way. And I think that if we change our perspective like that, because everything changes. Everything changes when you get a phone call and goes, hey, it's cancer. Everything changes when, right? You've been there, right? Everything, when she looks across the kitchen and went, I'm calling a lawyer. Like, or our daughter's not here. Like, we don't know, right? Or, right, everything changes then. So before the crisis causes it to change, we were talking about, I don't know if we talked about this on the last podcast or what, but when does a boy become a man? When he stops making excuses and takes responsibility for his life, stops blaming all the things that we do. It's like, well, I had a bad dad. My health, my body doesn't do this. And if I made more money, and if she hadn't done this or he hadn't done that, or if I've been given different cards or something like that, it's like, okay, all right, none of that happened or is going to happen. So what are you going to do now?
Right.
Right. And you have to go like, well, if my wife, well, I hope that happens too. But it's the same thing as like, my schedule is crazy and I'm losing my son. All right? Not okay. So like, I remember though, I remember somebody coming into Michael Caine's office one time going like, hey, I make this much money and I'm looking at 2 kids in college and this won't cover that. And Michael said, then you might have to get another job because, you know, and that sounded harsh, but it's like, there are hard choices that you have to make. And, you know, it's like, you just have to make those decisions now going. So like, I remember talking to a young couple that says the mom didn't want to work. So they live in this little townhouse. But she wanted to take care of their kids. But she was whining about, we live in this little townhouse. And I was like, you have a college, you can go. You can double your income and buy a house tomorrow. You have to put your kids over here. So just choose your sacrifice right now, you know? And I'm not saying one's right or one's wrong or something. I have opinions on it, but it's like, okay, like, hey, let's make this choice. We would rather live in a mobile home until our kids get into kindergarten, 1st grade, and then we can pursue this, or we can put our kids in childcare and we can pursue a better home now. And it's like, but don't complain about we don't ever see our kids.
Yeah, we're not victims.
Yeah, and I think we also have to move that. So I don't have little kids at home. You guys have little kids at home. We don't have little kids at home.
No.
We have adult children.
Whole other issue.
Yeah. How would you, Karen, how have you had to adapt? Like, I have my answer, but how have you adapt parenting your boys as children, and now they're adults making their own decisions that we don't always agree with or like, right?
Yeah.
But how do you approach that? I just turned this off of me.
I think the answer is going to be different depending on your kids and what their issues are and what their lives look like. I happen to have boy adult children.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have to adapt not mothering them, mothering a 30-year-old, loving them like a mother is different than mothering them.
Wow.
And so
that's deep. Wow.
Is it? Okay, great.
Hey, if you go to Hobby Lobby, you can put that on a t-shirt.
I'll craft that onto something. I don't craft, but
Really?
they need to know that I love them like a mother does, because that's very specific, and everybody needs that forever. But they're men, and they also need to know that I see them as a man, and that what I expect and want for them is for them to live like a man. Depending on what their relationship with Jesus is, that's different in terms of how I would interact with them. So for me, it's always I love you and I honor you as a man. I because God loves them that way.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to be truthful with them about the way you make decisions, I believe, has to be based on who you know is the king of the universe.
Yeah, good.
And where you know truth comes from. You can make different decisions that don't align with that, but I believe consequences are going to bear that out.
Yeah.
And
And that's not an I told you so. You're trying to spare them from.
No,
like,
I would never say it on the back end. It's more the front end of, well, here's what you got to think about.
Yeah.
And then,
We were talking about that. Jim, you were talking about that in your message, which is, we say, I know the Bible says, I know Jesus says, but that can harm so many people.
Yeah.
That does so much damage to folks. How have you guys seen just that do damage to people? And where do you think that comes from internally? It comes from a place of like love, shallow love, right?
Yeah.
Like this surface level love.
I don't feel, no, well, yes.
Sure.
If you dig into it, but it feels like all I know is I don't want to hurt my kid or I don't want them to feel pain. And so like, I know what God says about this, but they don't see that. And right now I just want to, and again, I get it. Like there's sometimes Robin's like, I don't care. I just want my kids back or in my life. Okay. And I'm like, I agree, but it is something different when it's your kid. And it's like, I know what God says, but I've also, I've talked to people like there's this beautiful girl that goes to the Denver campus and she came out of, she OD'd like on the church stage or steps, right?
Yeah.
And then she came out of a gay relationship, and she's on the front row worshiping and all that. And I don't want to say she's been delivered from all those whatever, but she's not pursuing. She's trying to pursue Jesus, right? And it's like all it would take is this one Christian going like, I know what God says, but just go. Then it would have given her permission and license.
Right.
And it would have come from a loving place. But like I said, God's going to look back and going like, can I tell you what, when you change God's word and you encourage somebody else to do this, it actually, it made it so much worse down the road. They were so happy and grateful and they fully embraced their sin. And then that took its place.
Well, I think it impedes God being able to actually work in their life because, this is my pet peeve with my kids as they were teenagers and adults. When some church or some Christian group starts going, that's okay. You got to live your truth. You got to do, that is the most hateful, disgusting, I don't care what your eternity looks like or your life here looks like, I'm just going to go with what, like, this is the general cultural understanding of what is kind to people. And then when God wants to speak to somebody about their sin or the Holy Spirit wants to move in their life to convict them, you got a bunch of nominal Christians going, live out your truth. You've just impeded the ability of God to actually work through honest truth.
Yeah. Well, Romans chapter 1 says we just reinvent God in our image. Like, and our image says, I just don't think my God would want so-and-so to be unhappy. It's like, if you can just show me that verse in the Bible.
Yeah.
Because like, I want my kids to be happy, but there's sometimes like they were not happy.
Yeah.
I mean, you have kids at home, right? And it's like, your goal every day is not that they
were super happy.
Got everything I wanted today.
Yep.
It's
No.
like, no, it's,
Because
yeah.
They would
tomorrow
not-
you're going to do something they don't like at all. And
Exactly.
they're not going to be happy.
Or you just think I just gave my kids something, the thing that they wanted at every single moment,
Yeah.
all throughout the day, 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they would be more tyrants than they already are.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, they just would
More than they already are. You work that in there.
So,
Did you hear that, kids?
they don't listen to they're definitely not listening to the Be Free podcast. But I think so often we want to give people this short momentary fix. Oh, let's just not be upset. Let's not hurt any feelings, not ruffle any feathers. But truthfully, sin leads to death, whether it's sin that we know about or sin that we don't know about. That's why you want to use the Word of God to illuminate the areas that we fall short. So that because all sin leads to death, even if we don't know about it. And so if a Christian false teacher is telling you this is not a sin, that sin in your life that you're not confronting still leads to death.
Yeah.
It's got to be rooted out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also, this is a big thing, and it came up in the sermon, but I think it comes up with parents too, is like, well, who am I to tell my kid they can't do that because I did that? And it's the same thing like the do not judge or you'll be judged.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that doesn't mean wait till you get your life cleaned up before you point to what God says is true. Right. As a matter of fact, as a person who has experienced a lot of the fallout of the wages of sin in this life,
Yeah.
shame, regret, just insecurity and just all those things. That's like, no, I know what I'm talking about because I made the same mistakes, and I'm just saying it's like it's an empty road. It's the moment, like the moment after whatever it is, the affair, right? Then here comes this tsunami of my life is just going to be very, very different, and you don't see it on the until it hits.
Right.
You're like, no, this is right. I know it's wrong, but whatever it is, I'll work through it, blah, 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 blah. And now you're going like, I have to go tell my kids we're not going to live in the house anymore, you know? And it's like I think that a person who has, we've talked about this over and over, you're shameful, messy, embarrassing, I wish my story was different, but this is my story, freedom story, will reach that person who has carrying the same stuff more than Pastor Jim, it's like, or more than, the counselor or something like that. It's that Me Too. Me Too is your biggest leverage point for, no, I know it's true because I have been down this path. I got a burn. I got the scars for it. And I'm telling you, there's a better way.
Yeah.
And they may not listen, but I don't want to look back and go like, I think as we in ministry, we deal with people and they lose somebody or something happens and they go like, if I just had one more conversation with them, or I wish I had told them this, or I wish I told them that. Well, you didn't. Yeah. Well, you didn't. I'm not going to beat them up in the moment, but on this side going, I don't know how many more moments you have.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, when they get in the car and leave tonight, I don't know that they're coming home. I don't know what's going to happen on their date. I don't know what's going to happen when your kid gets pulled into the internet. I don't know. All you have is today.
Yeah.
Like, don't wait for, I'm going to get to that. It's like, you don't know how much that you have.
Yep.
So I'm preaching a little bit now, but
Hey, we're here for it.
but I think that's the heart of this church.
Yes.
And the heart of Be Free is like, whoa. We're not throwing stones at anybody. We're not saying you have to clean up your life in order to be here. And we're not just picking on certain sins. I mean, I know I talk about the gender and the homosexuality thing because that is the one that Christians have said, like, let's throw that one out as a sin. It's like nobody's throwing adultery out. Everybody's going, yeah, adultery's still bad, right? Cheating on your marriage, that's still bad. Sticking needles in your arms getting high, we're all against that. Fentanyl, all bad. Child pornography and trafficking, all bad. What about homosexuality? Well, see, my brother or my friend okay, but I have a brother or friend or whatever that does all those other things.
Yeah.
And I'm not going like, can you give him a pass on the fentanyl? My cousin used to be my boy cousin, is now my girl cousin. I've got one in my family too. It's not like I'm talking about hypothetically, blah, 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 it's like, we're not throwing stones at anybody because it's like, we are Me Too. And I think that most of the people yelling it's because they're afraid for somebody.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think a lot of that yelling is protecting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, please don't hurt my friend or my brother or my dad or my, you know. And so I think it comes from a good place, but it also does not end in a good place.
Right. Me Too has evolved over the years. It's always been part of the ethos of Flatirons. You really verbalized it a couple of years into your leadership here. But I mean, Karen, you were a part of Flatirons even before, and that ethos was still there, but it's grown and it's developed obviously over the years. Just how have you seen that play out, the Me Too part of Flatirons?
Yeah, it was crazy. When I first started attending, I grew up in a pretty legalistic, that's a harsh word, a very
Baptist.
strict conservative Southern Baptist church.
In Texas, they have those?
I know, shocking, which I loved, and I still love all those people.
Yep.
But I got to Flatirons pre-Jim and was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I was telling somebody not long ago about the woman like standing in the back with a snake on her arm, and you remember that? That was after you were here, right?
Yeah, the first funeral, I was like, there's a lady who has a snake on her arm.
Somebody down front with a knife that we had to get escorted out. Somebody whose story was they were going she was going to Walmart to buy a gun to kill her husband and accidentally got caught in traffic and turned into Flatirons instead.
That's true.
So, but that is.
We keep going.
I don't say any of that making fun of them. Right. That is who the church was.
Yeah.
That is who was coming. And for me, that was the compelling thing about it.
Right.
It was like, I think maybe this is what church is supposed to be. And I just had never really experienced that. So pre-Jim, but I 100% believe that in God's leadership and in his, just the way he ordains how things work, you were the right person to be able to step into that and to go, I can do this. I can be transparent about my own stuff. I don't have to be all slicked up. I don't have to have everybody here believe that I've never done anything wrong and that I've got it all together. I can come in and lead these people and love them right where they are. So it hasn't really changed. But Jim was the exact right person that God put in place to lead.
Rob and I
Flatirons.
walked in. We came and visited in October, and then I preached in December, and I started in February. And after we came in, and there's people spinning in her pajamas,
Dancers,
right? Yeah. I keep going. But Rob and I got in the car to go back to the hotel, and it was like, I don't know, if there's something happening there. Even if they don't hire us, we should probably move here to be a part of it. And that's on the first time I walked in, and I have met so many people. I came, I came like this, and we haven't missed in 12 years, and it's been a roller coaster, of health and of pain and of journey. But I think the one thing, Karen, since before you got there or whatever, is that it was lost and broken people welcome, and nobody had a category for that. Yeah. Like, it wasn't the music, it wasn't the covers, it wasn't the certainly wasn't the aesthetics. It was like, but I really am welcome here, and I'm a mess. And the guy up there doesn't talk down to me, or whoever's up there doesn't talk down to me. Like this weekend, Karen, it's like you're just opening a testimony, like your Be Free story is like, you could just feel like the room change a little bit. Like, okay, yeah, I've got some of that. I've got some of that. I've got some of that. And I would die to have a community that showed up for me. Yeah. Wouldn't that be great?
Don't you think everybody feels that? I just wanted to know that I wasn't the only person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then it changes everything.
Yeah, that's the good thing about when we stand up there and teach. We have 4,000 faces going.
Yeah.
And then we see some people go from this to face in their hands,
Yeah.
and then hands in the air. And it's like, so we get the best seat in the house to see, like, lean in, lean out. But sometimes it's really subtle when you say something like you're not the only one. And they go like, right?
Karen and I shared our kind of marriage testimony at Reengage, which is our marriage ministry. And I've talked to 3 different couples who came up and said, hey, what your wife was talking about, what you guys were struggling with, we're right there. Like, they resonate with that weakness part They want to know they can belong. They want to know they're part of something where everybody has something they're struggling with. But at the same time, Jim, give your thoughts on this. I feel like we're in a cultural moment where there are so many lies right now. You're not sure what to believe when it comes to media, when it comes to what you see on social media, all across the board. And so there's a bit of people coming in wanting to be accepted for who they are, wanting to be accepted for, hey, I know I'm broken. I know I'm struggling. But will you just tell me the truth about what God says? I feel like today, even more than a year ago, they're like, I know I'm jacked up. Will you please be honest with me about what God's word says? Have you felt that?
Absolutely. And the other thing is, like, when I talk about this father-daughter thing, about this father's really worried that his gay daughter might not feel safe, blah, 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 blah. I do believe that none of these people have to come to church. And so they know, and there's options all over the place. They know when they walk in here with a question, it's like, the reason I'm here
Yes.
is because something's missing or doesn't feel right. Or I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't need anything beyond what I already feel and have. So I'm going to assume that the person who walks in here going like, I'm looking for something, just tell me, like, can I find it here? And I'll make the decision like, nope, unless you tell me these three things that were conditional. But then you came in like already, that you weren't looking for change. You weren't looking for anything to go along and improve your life. You were asking, like, just tell me that I don't have to do anything different. But then why did you come? I think that, like, people are so fed up with the noise. And the other thing is, you know, whether it's whether it's Charlie Kirk or the media hype around it or whatever, a bunch of next gen people, for whatever reason, went, I don't have to be either silent or shut up about my beliefs. Like, I actually disagree with my college or my university or my professors. And I was told, shut up or you'll be punished. And I'm like, I'm not going to shut up. And I don't know if I'll be punished in the way that I might find somebody come up beside me and go like, finally, it's just two of us.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then there's four of us.
Yeah.
And then there's, 10 of us.
Yeah.
So I think that one thing in this revival is you have some people that are finding a boldness because they realize I'm not alone. There's always a remnant. I don't care if you go to the weirdest liberal, far whatever university here. There is a remnant there of Christ followers that they felt like maybe they had to hide in an upper room, like the disciples. But when they find each other, then they're not alone. I think that's really, really important. The other thing is a bunch of people like who are going like, this is insanity. I mean, it's just not even common sense.
Right.
But I have to say I believe it, or I won't either pass this class or I'll be ostracized by this group, something like that. And it's like, there comes a point when it's like, screw it, this is just not true.
Sure.
Like, I'm not sure what is true, but this can't be sustainable.
It's not true, and it's not working. Like, it's not leading to
Yeah.
the peace or the hope or the joy or the utopia that was promised. Instead, it's leading to more divisiveness, more warped reality, and more people who are depressed, anxious, et cetera, et cetera.
I think you just nailed it. Here's, I think, that the boldest thing that a college student could do, or anybody. This isn't working. Like, this isn't true. Like, this cannot possibly be true. And your explanation of why it's better, it's
Right.
It's not working.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I call bullshit. Sorry. on like this is not true because I didn't even know what Jesus had to say about it. I bet it's not this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I should find out.
Yeah.
Jesus, what do you think about?
Yeah.
He's like, Jesus, like,
He wouldn't
I've
say
been
that
saying
word,
this-
but I've been saying this.
Hello. Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry for that. Like, Scubalon.
Scubalon. Paul would
Bull
say it.
Scubalon,
Paul
right?
would say it. As we wrap up, just we've talked
I'm
about.
gonna get emails around one thing.
We got an email from the last one too.
Can we bleep
but,
that? Yeah. No bleeping.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Lawson, no, it's not going to be bleeped out.
Okay.
We're just going to leave it in there and see what happens. We want the
the
mark on
cussing
the
preacher.
podcast. So we talk about, there is a sense of openness. In the last Be Free podcast, we were talking about just how it seems like there are these winds of revival. And when the wind of the Spirit is blowing, the only thing you do, you raise the sails of faith. And you say, hey, let's just go as fast as he wants to move. And so we feel like now is a special time. We're inviting our church into 100% engagement. And like with 100% engagement, why do you think that's so important? And how do people engage with Be Free? That's not just, there's the financial aspect, obviously, which is really important to achieving some of the things that we're doing. But how does a person become 100% engaged with Be Free?
Yeah, that's good. I think, so this is only the second, initiative we've ever done. The first one was bricks when we were across the street at the feed store trying to move into the Walbertsons. And we had this idea of everybody grab a brick. And I don't know if that brick is $10,000 or $1. But at the end of it, we look back and go like, look what God did through us. Man. And I don't know if you have a gold brick, a platinum brick, a silver brick, or just a mud brick. I don't know, but it's just a thing of bricks. So I think one of them is like, I think Karen said it in her devotion at the start of church. And I think you mentioned it too. Is like, we don't want to miss this. So like, don't at the end of this or whatever, down the road, go like, look what they did. Yeah. It's like we have an opportunity to say we, and I can't dictate a certain on a financial level or whatever. The other thing is, am I engaged in one of these three initiatives? How could I be a part of that? Well, it could be like Longmont's about to send about 100 people up to Loveland because they want to establish. So, I could engage in that. And where's the next one? And where's the next one? So that taking on that mindset. And then also, here's would be the greatest thing. Whatever campus you're at, start even that mindset of, I'm just looking at the door, waiting for a version of me to walk in here and give them what you needed.
So good.
Now I'm 100% engaged in Outpost of Freedom.
Right.
All right. Somehow commit yourself into spiritual formation. If that would be like, hey, I'm getting together with my small group or I'm forming a small group, whatever. We're working through the Be Free devotion, something like that, because we want to be people like that. All the way up to, join the Institute. I'm going to take a leadership class, or I'm going to take so joining in that. And then it's like, I'm serious. Like if you're involved I can make calls in legal affairs, like I'm a district attorney or I'm a commander of a police force, something like that. I would love to go after trafficking. There's no interest above me. There's no budget around me. And every time we do this, it's a payroll, like overtime. And I just, your hands are literally tied. Yeah. It's like, but tell us, and we will put you in contact with something that you don't have to raise money for. Yeah. You will pay for it. But we can't do what only you can do. And we can do what you're right now not allowed to do. So the partnership is there. Yeah. But then on the other side of that, it's like, while we can't go bust indoors, there's some women out there really who have, like, maybe your kids are up and gone, but you still have a mother's heart, and you need to come upside some of these women and girls, and say, I've been there, I understand, you're safe, So I think that so the question I get a lot over the last month, especially, is especially younger people, especially after camp and stuff like that, is like, hey, I've sensed God's telling me what to do. I don't know what that is right now. And I said, well, right there. Right. So you're listening, you're looking, and you're in a posture of obedience. You say this really, really well at the dinners, and I'm sure you'll say it this weekend, is, hey, God, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to sacrifice? What do you want me to get? Whatever that is. And God, before I know what it is, my answer is yes. Yeah. And so I've said a lot of that is like, hey, if you're in a posture of obedience, like my answer is yes, and I'm paying attention to what comes next, then you'll know how you're supposed to be a part of this. And here's the other thing, all right? Like here's not how to get involved in this. Hey, Jim, I've listened to you preach about Be Free, all this kind of stuff. Here's what I think the church needs to go do. It's like, no, you go do it.
Sure.
You go do it.
That's good.
Be free. Like I have a real heart for sober living, or I have a real heart for addiction. I have a real heart for foster care, something like that. I think the church should start a ministry. No, you. Well, how are you going to pay for it? I don't know. I think that the first thing you do is posture of obedience. I'm listening and learning, and like whatever resources you need, if it lines up with what God wants to do anyway, then you're going to join him in that, and that won't be the problem. And I'm not copping out. I'm just saying, don't you cop out.
Yeah.
Don't you go like, hey, I think the church ought to have a ministry for so-and-so. I do too. You're the church. You're the church. You don't need Pastor Jim to bless it or something like that. Just go. We need to feed hungry people. Right. Why don't you get your small group together and figure out how you're going to do this, and then we'll point people to you.
Yeah. If the church has to administrate all of the freedom that's going to come from Be Free, it really limits what's going to happen. I mean, we'll make a minor impact compared to Be Free, make things happen.
Yeah. You're free to explore anything God has for you without this cap of, well, does Flatirons approve of this?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jim told me that I could start a new ministry. Like, whoa, time out. Right. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Right. So I think that if you're listening I'm trying to pay attention to what God has for me and what Be Free is bringing to the surface. And my posture is obedience, right? And humility. Like, here I am, God, what do you want me to do? And the answer is not, go tell Jim what he needs to do.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, God, what do you want me to do? And eventually, maybe, like, other people may come alongside of me, but if it's a calling on your life, you have to do it.
Yeah, to do that.
You have to do it.
This is so good. I think it's a great way to end. Karen, thanks so much for being on Be Free.
Thanks for inviting me in.
Man, Jim, as always. And hey, Flatirons and online.
Sorry, I said the bad word.
We love you. Thanks for joining us. You can feel free to subscribe. Would love for you to rate or comment, review the podcast. We'll be back here next week for week 3 of Be Free.
Hey, you know what? A lot of people don't even know about this. So can you share a podcast?
Sharing is also.
Look at me.
Yeah, look
Sharing
at that.
is good.
Sharing.
I'm an influencer.
Yeah. Share,
And
comment, review, subscribe, like it. All right, guys. We'll see you later.